literally just sat down to record and the oil truck showed up. We'll wait for that to finish. Will I have one episode where I don't get fiber up my nose? I think not. This pen goes with this notebook, and the same exact pen goes with the other notebook. They're exactly the same. The bags under my eyes. My eyes have seen better days. My videos never go viral. I think the algorithm hates me. Hello, my name is Jocelyn. I use she, they pronouns, and I'm coming to you from my home here in the Blackstone Valley of Massachusetts, where I live with my two cats, Frog and Toad, and my partner David. This is the Make Everything podcast, and I mostly talk about my knitting here, but I also share any artwork that I've been working on, fairs that I've attended, and I just try to share really anything that I feel like when it inspires me creatively. So today it's been quite a while since I've recorded, I think at least a month, and the reason for that is because I've been sick the entire month of September. I'm recovering still. There's probably going to be some extra cutting this episode because I do still have a lot of phlegm in my throat, and I have to clear my throat and cough still kind of frequently, so there might be some extra cuts, and I'm sorry for that. But I felt good enough today that I wanted to sit down and finally record a podcast and update you all on what I've been up to, which honestly hasn't been too much because while I was sick, I was avoiding doing pretty much everything, but I do still have some things to share today. So I have a finished object, which is what I'm wearing, and I will talk about that in a minute. I have a new work in progress. I actually have two works in progress, which shocked even myself. I have always been a monogamous knitter. I don't think I've ever had more than one project on the needles at a time, so shocked myself there. And I actually have two new paintings to show. One of them I've actually had done for quite a while, and I forgot to show it at the last podcast episode, but I'm going to show it today. And then let me actually read my notes. New artwork, and then I wanted to do kind of like a little knit and chat at the end if this doesn't go on for an extremely long time. So let's jump right in with the finished object. This is, I've been calling this the texture top, and I've actually been seeing very recently like the I think it's the Ingrid top, whichever one Petite Knit came out with, and like everyone went crazy over it, and it had a whole bunch of textures and like eyelet rows to separate them and stuff like that. Well, it wasn't really actually inspired by that, but then I started seeing everyone doing very similar designs. And I had originally thought about writing a pattern for this, but I think it might actually be a little too similar to a lot of the designs that are out there, so I'm just going to keep this for myself. It is a pretty simple construction, I'd say. Let me stand up and actually show you the back first. Excuse me. So this is the front, all the textures there, and this is the back, and all of this is self-designed. Let's see if I can put my chair back in the same spot. All of this was designed by me, and I'll tell you a little bit about how I constructed this and put it all together. I did talk about it a little bit in my last podcast episode because this was in progress during that episode, but I'll go over it again. I started off with these two pretty long strips of garter stitch. I think I did 99 rows until it reached like a length that I liked, and it started at like a point on my shoulder that I preferred. And when I was done with, I did 2 of them for both shoulders, and then I picked up along the front edge of each of them, and I did work some short rows to kind of shape the shoulder a little bit. And then kind of did short rows like the whole way across until I had worked all of the stitches and then started doing the texture sections. I had done 5 different swatches for this project to kind of test out some different textured stitches, mostly just knit pearls. And I only actually ended up using like 2 of the textures that I had worked up out of like, I think I had like 4 different textures on some. This is one of the swatches. So there are like 1, 2, at least 3 on this one, and I have a few more that have multiple textures on each of them, and I only ended up using 2 of them and made up the rest as I went along. This one I am most proud of. Let's see if we can get some light on it. The X's right there. Maybe I can do like a tutorial if you guys are interested on how I did this with the double wrapped stitch, because it was actually a lot of fun to knit. This project went so quickly with like all of the different textures and everything. Like I just wanted to finish like the next section, the next section, the next section. It was kind of a drag on like the really long rows, because this is 214 stitches across from the top, and I decreased 1 stitch on the sides every other row, so it was a lot of fabric to work on. The back I had to rip out. I was like 2/3 of the way done, and then I had to rip it out and start again because I noticed a mistake, and I noticed the design that I originally had, it wasn't working out. And I actually, because I was struggling to find time to record a podcast while I was making this, and so I actually took some phone footage, and I will insert that so you can kind of like go along through the process of me knitting with those little clips there. I'll put them in here. So I'm having a problem now because I don't know if you can see very well, but right here I realized that this stripe here and then subsequently all of these other ones started too late. So this was supposed to start like 2 rows earlier, so that way the last join matches up with the join over here. I'm not gonna show you that. So I tried to compensate by doing the cabling every row, and at first I thought it wasn't that obvious, and it's really not if I like stretch the fabric out, but I know it's there, and now it's bothering me. The second thing is on this row right here where I turn the cable to go the opposite direction, I really don't like how I did that. So I had to go back to my chart and fix it, and right here in particular on these corners, that's where I had originally crossed it, and now I'm realizing it would look so much better if they just touched, and like this one still went this way, this one just reversed, and then all of the rest of these wouldn't have to be cabled from like the stitch next to it. I think it would just look a lot cleaner. So now I have to decide, do I just rip back and fix this mistake? Or do I rip all the way back to here, which is basically starting over from like the first
4 inches. I'm stuck and I'm upset. But I think knowing me, I think I am going to rip all the way back to here and try it again. So it's kind of sad because it was looking really, really nice, but it'll look even nicer after I frog it. So I will show you after I've fixed it. So I just took my cable out to frog it all back, and I'm realizing if I'm frogging all the way back to here, I might as well frog the entire section so that way I can do the broken seed stitch the right way, because this is currently broken seed stitch with a purl row to break it on the right side, which means that this is actually the right side of that stitch pattern, but it's the wrong side of my garment. So if I just, oh, this is gonna be so painful. If I frog all of this, then I can redo the entire thing and it'll actually be the way that I want it to be. Oh, that's gonna be so painful. I'm gonna have to go back to doing all 214 stitches per row. Ah, okay, well, we're doing it. I've committed. We'll see how it goes.
My arms are so tired. But it's done. I'm actually really shocked that I didn't
miss any stitches this time when I was picking up the line where I wanted to go back to. Usually I miss stitches, or I go in the row above or below at least once or twice, so I'm actually pretty proud of myself that I managed to get this right this time. So it is just about 1 a.m. and I've actually made a good amount of progress. I'm sorry the lighting is pretty bad, but I actually got, you know, several inches done, so. And funny enough, when I was re-knitting this, I actually made exactly the same mistake in the same spot when I was adding in, where is it, this cable right there, and I added it in like 3 rows too late or something like that, and I had to ladder down and add the cable in a couple rows lower to fix it. So thank goodness I caught it when I was only like 4 rows above the mistake and not 30 like I was before. But I think that's it for me today. It's about bedtime, so I think I'm done for today, and we will see how far I get tomorrow. I'm pretty good about when I make big mistakes like that and I have to frog all the way back to basically the beginning of the back piece. I kind of turn off process knitting and I turn on product knitting, which allows me to get, you know, 5 inches of fabric knit in a couple of hours in one evening. So tomorrow we'll go back to doing process knitting, maybe. We'll see, because now I'm just ready to be done with this project. I really just want to wear it at this point, so we'll see. Please excuse my completely disheveled look. I have been working on this project now pretty much all day, and so it's basically back up to the point where I had frogged it yesterday, so that's like a week's worth of knitting that I just banged out in one day, or day and a half, I guess, because I started yesterday afternoon. And I realized that I don't have enough rows left, like decrease rows on the body section, to complete the nice little diamond motif that I was going for. So I've just spent the last, I don't know, 20-30 minutes redesigning the back, keeping this portion, and I think I found something that I'm gonna like, and I think it's gonna work out. More to come. So just to show you real quick, this is the original diamond design. I had these lines going all the way out to about here, where the diamond, oh, hi frog, where the diamond would be, you know, nicely completed, but the body decreases end right here. So I didn't like that the diamond was off center on the back piece, so I redesigned it this way. And oops, I'm missing a little cable there, but that's okay. So now it's going to be more of a triangle, and this is the broken seed stitch that's going to continue up the sides. This represents one of the eyelet sections that I used to divide the different texture sections on this piece, and then I'm just going to continue the broken seed stitch on the other side and see how it looks, and hopefully I like it. So I stayed up pretty late last night working on this, and I managed to finish the diagonal lines in that design that I showed you. I did the eyelet row and then I finally went to bed. So this morning I've been able to work on a couple more rows in the broken seed stitch section, and this is actually the last section that I need. And so I only have a few more rows to go, and then I'll start the ribbing, and I think I will actually finish this piece today. I did notice when I tried it on earlier that now with all of the extra weight of the back piece being on, it is stretching out the neckline. So I think I'm going to seam up the sides, wash it, block it, and see how much it shrinks, and then decide from there if I want to add in a nice I-cord for the neckline and finish it off that way. Still haven't decided on the ribbing yet for the sleeves, but we'll get there. This is my biggest interruption. Don't eat my buttons. Bye. So this is it fresh out of the dryer. I did just throw this right into my washer dryer here at home. It shrunk quite a bit in length when it was dried. I've noticed that when I throw it in the washer, cotton garments still look the same when they come out, but when you throw it in the dryer, it shrinks a lot in length usually. So I tried to pull it down and stretch it out, which resulted in me ripping the seam down there. I don't know if you can see that gaping hole. And there are 2 more rips on the other seam as well, so I have to go fix those. The neckline did end up being a little bit wider than I wanted, so I'm gonna go back in and add, I don't know if I'm gonna do ribbing or garter on the neckline, and then I'm gonna do a little bit of ribbing on the sleeves as well, just do like a 2-inch cuff, I think. And then that will be it for this garment. Let me see if I can turn around and show you the back. I don't know if you can see that well. I'll do another clip where I can show you. So I have a lot of this yarn left. As you can see, it was such a huge cone, and I want to say I used probably half of it for this project, but there's still quite a bit left, so I need to figure out what to do with that. But I think I'm going to give it a break, and my next project is either going to be this 100% linen, which is really soft and squishy, or I'm going to go back to this. I just caked these up today. This is another 100% cotton that I have. It's so soft and squishy. I did knit up my original Carrie Cardi in this, and it was just the best thing in the world to knit with. So I'm going to try it double-stranded this time because the Carrie Cardi that I did was triple-stranded, and I think it was a little too thick and chunky. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to design one more summer top. I don't know if I'm going to limit myself to one more summer garment for this year, but I did cake up 2 of these, and I think I'm going to design something like a colored polo with some buttons down the front and see where we get there with this yarn. I think that's going to be my next project, but we'll see. And I think that's all I have to say about this. This was knit with this 100% cotton yarn, and I have so much left. I can't believe how much is left after I used this much fabric. I even went back in and I added, originally this was just kind of left free. There was no edging, and then I went back and I added a little bit of ribbing here and on the cuffs. And the ribbing I did after it had already been washed, so it doesn't really lie the best, but it's there.
I had a new cast on very quickly after I finished this. I think I took like a day or two of rest, but I soon cast on another project, and I'll show you the swatches that I did first and talk about those. So this is the new fabric that I'm working on, and it's a combination of 3 different yarns. I'm holding them all together, and one of them is kind of like shiny. I don't know if it really picks up, but when it's in person and up close, it kind of gives like a little bit of shine to it. The second swatch is actually just on the smaller needle size, and I decided to go for the looser gauge because I knew that one of these yarns, at least, that's in the 3 held together, it does shrink quite a bit in the wash. So it is 100% cotton. So I will show you actually, it's kind of a mess. This is the project. Oh my goodness. I gotta figure this out. Okay. It's on fairly small circular needles, so I won't be able to show you very well, but this is how it started. Oh my gosh, a mess. It's a very loose cardigan kind of jacket, it's going to be very lightweight, so by the time I finish it, I probably won't really be able to wear it anywhere but like in the house, just for, you know, cozy effect. I think I heard the term recently, saddle shoulder, and I think that's what this construction is. I started it very similarly to this one, where I knit the little top of the shoulder first, and I did this in a slip stitch pattern on the smaller needle size so that it would be very like sturdy on top of the shoulders. I don't know why, I just really wanted that. And then I left all of those stitches live at the end of that shoulder strip and picked up along the sides, the front and the back, and then cast on across the back neck opening, and then did the same thing on the other shoulder patch, or the shoulder strip. And I really like actually that when I picked up all of the stitches, it gives like this little ruffly effect on the front and the back, and I really like that. I think it's just like one little added thing that turned out really cute. I'm knitting this on, oh my gosh, it's, oh, and they're untwisting. It's a US 3. These are my chaukus, US 3 or 3.25 millimeters, and it is taking a long time, although I did very recently split for sleeves, so I want this to be very long, because I know when I tend to wash 100% cotton like this one as well, it doesn't shrink width-wise, it shrinks lengthwise like a lot. So I want this to be like mid-thigh length, and then hopefully it'll shrink to be like still a little bit long, but more where I would like it. I would still like it even if it was mid-thigh length, so I think having this be like a really oversized garment and making it like too oversized and then letting it shrink down to be like just right kind of oversized, I'll be happy with it however it turns out, because I know it will not be fitted no matter what. But this project is going to take me probably like another month to finish if I continue to work on it like in most of the time that I spend knitting. So it's probably still going to take me quite a while. I think it's 22 stitches per 4 inches is the gauge that I measured on my swatch. Although usually when I start knitting a project, I have like 2 less stitches per 4 inches, so it's probably more like 20 stitches per 4 inches. But on 3.25 millimeter, I think this would be considered a fingering weight. yarn. This is, here, let me and this is the combination of all 3 yarns held together, and it is quite fine. So let me show you the yarns individually. It is a combination of my favorite. This is another 100% cotton. And when it's unwashed, it has kind of like the lightest pink tint, but when it gets washed, that kind of washes right out. And it becomes like a nice creamy white. Very, very soft. I love that yarn so much. This is an absolute pain in the bum to work with, but this is what gives it like a nice shine. It's very, very sturdy yarn. This is a poly, flax, and silk mix. The silk is just a little flex. I love the color, but you can see it's like thread weight. You can't even. So I have been trying to figure out ways to use this up, and it has been mostly just adding it to projects here and there where I can figure out where to put it in, if I think it'll go. It has a lot of twist in the yarn, so it's kind of a pain. I think I've talked about this before, but this one's the most painful to work with, but we get through it. And then the last one is this 100% rayon, and you can see it's nicely variegated. It's got all the lovely colors in it, and it's giving a lot of depth to the fabric that I'm working on. So it's, again, very soft, very sturdy yarn, although my cat did manage to chew through it in the middle of my project while I was sleeping. But yeah, so I really like this. I'm really enjoying the combination. Pulling from 3 cones at the same time is not ideal, but I much rather do that than wind up smaller balls and work from those, because I do not want to weave in any ends whatsoever. I'm tired of ends, so, and I don't even weave in that many. But I just don't want to deal with the ends, so this is not a project that I can take with me, because carrying around, oh my god, can I even pick them up? Carrying around 3 cones of yarn to work on one project is not feasible. So I currently don't have any, I don't have a project that I can take with me anywhere, which is part of the reason why I cast on a brand new project last night. Let me talk about the swatches first though, because I did 2 different swatches to kind of see what other project I want to work on. Since this one's going to take so long, I kind of get discouraged sometimes when projects take a while to complete and I don't have that finished object in my hand very quickly. So I was getting a little bit discouraged at one point, and so I wanted to try swatching for different projects and see if I could have like a quicker project to do to kind of give me that satisfaction in the middle. I don't know. Am I turning into a non-monogamous knitter? Oh my god. Anyways, the first of the swatches is this one. And this is very lightweight. It's so thin. But I held this triple. This is, let me grab it. This is 100% acrylic yarn, and it is all coming from this cone. And line up a few. You can see this is also very, very fine. So I held it triple, and how I did that was, again, I don't want to cake up individual balls of yarn, so I did that thing where you, how do you do it? It's like this. You like pull the yarn out and pinch it. Let me see if I can hold it close to my face so the camera will pick it up. And then you pull this through that loop, and now you have a triple strand of yarn. and every time you come up to the next end of the loop here, you just pull the yarn through that loop again, and it continues triple stranding it. So it's actually a lot of fun to do it while you're knitting. So that's how I knit up that swatch, and it was immediately screaming hoodie to me, even though, again, it's super lightweight yarn, it's very thin. These aren't very like cold weather appropriate projects, but I don't know, everything is screaming hoodie to me lately, so I just want to make an infinite number of hoodies that I can wear everywhere. Even though I do very much want to start working on my wintry projects and start working on that huge 20-pound cone of wool. I keep looking at it. It's like this thick of wool, but it is just like a plain white. And while I do want to make some projects that are just white or like a beigey kind of oatmeal-y color, I do want to try color work, and so I want to go back and go yarn shopping again and find some other colors to pair with it and do something fun. But I don't have the budget right now to be doing that, so we're sticking with the other things that I have. So my second swatch was made with this 100% linen, and it is a beautiful color, and it's quite shiny, and I really do love this yarn, but after I knit the swatch, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I bought it knowing that it was a very rough linen. It's not soft at all, and so I knit up a swatch here, and this is that yarn held double on, I don't have my notebook with me, so I can't remember what size needle it was on. I think it was a US 6 that I put it on. Maybe that's 4 millimeters. Excuse me. I am not the biggest fan. It's still, I soaked the swatch for about 15 minutes and then let it dry over the next day and a half-ish. It did take quite a long time to dry for a little swatch. I was surprised. But I'll put it up next to the mic so you can hear what I mean when I say it's kind of crunchy. I'll do some knitting ASMR. It's not my favorite. So I decided, after looking at this for a few days, I decided it's 100% linen. I don't think I would wear it next to skin. So I was trying to think of what projects can I do with all of this linen that I would be happy with. And I decided I'm going to use it and make like boatloads of linen goods, like home items out of linen. And so what I cast on last night is a little napkin for using for dinner. And I am doing it in the linen stitch. Oh goodness. I'm doing it in the linen stitch. Oh, that's the wrong side. And I decided to hold it singly instead of double, and I'm now knitting it on, I'm knitting it on the same size needle. Oh, because you know what? I started knitting this with one strand on a US 2 doing the linen stitch, and I quickly realized that was the wrong decision because it's such a dense stitch. I've never worked the linen stitch before. It is fantastic, by the way. I love this stitch. I love how it looks. This is the only time in my life where I've ever had hand pain after knitting. And this was like, this is all I could do in one night. And then I had to stop. But I'm glad I went up to a US 6 or a 4 millimeter it made it a lot easier to work the stitch, although it does still give me some trouble. I find that the wrong side row is actually a lot easier to work, and I'm enjoying it a lot more than the right side row. For whatever reason, the knit row is very challenging on my hands. It has no give whatsoever, and I find that it hurts my wrist specifically. Anyways, this is gonna be another long haul project, so I plan on making a full set of these. I want to make 6 hand napkins for the table, and I want to make 6 placemats, which I think I'll crochet. I haven't decided quite yet, but I think I'm gonna crochet the placemats, and do like, I almost wonder if I want to do 2 sets of those as well, where I could do nice big rectangular ones, and put like a nice border on them, or I could do like crocheted oval ones. I never know if I like oval or rectangle better. Anyways, that's my plan for this yarn. I have too much of it, to be honest. Excuse me, coughing fit. I'm thinking that these projects would even be really nice gifts for people, especially like any of my friends that I know are like moving into their own home or something, or getting married. I could do like, you know, like embroider their initials or something on handmade like linen napkins and do like a full set for them, and I feel like that would be such a nice gift for people. I would have to really think about that though, depending on how long these take me, and how much pain it causes in my wrists while I make it. But I think that would be such a nice gift. Maybe if I do gift sets, I'll just do like 4, not 6, and just put their initials on, like figure out how to do color work on a linen stitch or something, and like figure out how to get their initials in it. This is already like 40 rows of work, and it's so small. It's only like 1.5 inches of work. So, excuse me, fiber everywhere. This is making me realize exactly what Inga from Knitting Traditions was saying about the linen stitch, where you do 4 rows and you get the progress of 2. So it is double the work, and with this yarn it's very challenging, but I know that I'm going to deeply enjoy this when it's done, the finished object, so that's kind of keeping me going. And it is kind of like a nice change of pace from my current stockinette project. I still want to cast on something a bit bigger that I can knit on also larger needles and kind of like whip up in like 2-3 weeks or something. So, oh my god, maybe I'll cast on something else. I don't even recognize myself anymore. But anyways, that is my new cast on. I'm having the urge to cast on socks, and I am a very loose knitter, so I don't know what needle size I will need to work them up on. I have some yarn that my sister-in-law bought me for Christmas. Oh my gosh, last year or the year before. I don't even know how long it's been sitting in my stash, but I very, very much want to work up some socks in like actual sock yarn, because if you've seen one of my previous episodes, I showed some socks that I had worked up prior, and they were done in Malabrigo Rios, which is like a DK or a worsted weight yarn, and I didn't like how they felt on my feet because the yarn was so thick, and it was like in a 1x1 rib or something, and it wasn't very comfortable. And so I have never worn hand knit socks. I don't have any hand knit socks, and I very much would like some, especially nice woolly ones for the winter, because I have currently 3 pairs of like good thick socks, they're store-bought. But those are the only 3 pairs of socks that I can get through the winter with. Otherwise my feet are so cold. And so I just have to keep washing them so much, which is breaking them down very quickly. So I only have 3 pairs of socks for the winter. And actually, it's only 2 because I gave one to David. And he wears them. So I need some socks. And I'm trying to figure out what needle size I need to cast them on with. And I want to try, normally I knit socks 2 at a time, magic loop, but I want to try knitting them on the Chow Goose shorties that everyone raves about. So I don't know what size needle to get though. I don't know if I need a US 1 or if I can get by with a US 2. I don't know if it's like the smaller the needle size, the tighter I knit. I don't know. But I very much want to cast on socks. So, but if I need to get these shorties, I will have to hold off because, again, I don't have the budget to be buying anything right now. So, but those are part of my plans, is to cast on some socks. Actually, let me go grab the sock yarn that I'm talking about so I can show you because it's really pretty. Okay, we're back. So I actually found another sock yarn in my stash that I forgot about a little bit, so let's go through these. The first 2 are the ones, I gotta catch my breath. Going up and down the stairs is still challenging. It leaves me a little bit winded. Okay, I think I'm good. So the 2 sock yarns that my sister-in-law got me are both from Lang. One of them is the Super Socks Cotton Stretch 4-ply, and it says superwash on it. I'm trying to find the yarn content. Made in Italy. Okay, so here it is. It's 45% wool, 35% cotton, 13% nylon, and 7% polyester. So that's the first one that she got me. And I love these colors. It's like, it's all the grays and it's got like a purplish blue undertone. And it actually reminds me of like rusting metal. And I really love that. I love these colors so much. So I've been wanting to knit up some socks with these for a while since she gave them to me. But I think I've been afraid to cast on socks again because I just wasn't happy at all with the original socks that I made. But I think it'll be very different on actual sock yarn. The next one is also Lang socks, Lang yarns. It's Twin Socks, says superwash. And this one is 75% virgin wool and 25% nylon. And again, color choice is perfect for me. I don't know if the camera's really picking it up. It looks like the camera's seeing like the lighter color here as more yellowy cream, and it's actually pretty like greenish. It has a lot of like green in it. Let me see if I can find color names. Oh, there's a color number. So it's 909.0243. Let me see if I can put that on there. So that's the color for this one. The one in the Cotton Stretch 4-ply is, where are you? 905.0029. There you go. So there's 2 pairs of socks right there that I could knit. And then the last one is a Miss Babs Hot Shot fingering yarn. This is an 80/20 superwash merino and nylon mix, 400 yards. And this is in the colorway Hidden Depths. And this is a Wild Iris. which I think is their way of saying like they won't make this color again. It says non-repeatable. So this was like a one-time colorway that I really, really liked. And this is like the only fancy yarn I've ever bought myself, and I bought it like, I don't even know, like 6 years ago, 7 years ago now. And I bought it with the intention of making a sweater out of it. And I bought one. One skein. So, but anyways, I love these colors so much. And I would love to have these as a pair of socks. I'm more of like a solid color sock person, but like all of these colors, all the variegated, and like I'm sure this one's gonna be striping. Like they're all calling to me right now. Socks are calling to me. So I hope that I can figure out a needle size to work these on and get some socks made in the future. They'll probably be very, very vanilla socks. I don't think I have the capacity to do textured socks, especially on sock yarns that already have so much interest. I think I would rather do plain socks. And again, these are going to be like very functional socks, so I don't know if I really care about having a texture on it. I think I'll just be happy with the yarns being the star. Okay, let me read my notes again. Alright, this video is getting to be very, very long, so I am not going to do a knit and chat at the end. I will probably do that in a separate video and post that later. So the last thing that I want to share with you all today is the artwork that I've been working on recently. I have 2 finished paintings, and we'll start with the first one, which, what did I even call this? Oh, I called it First Leaves. And bring it up close. I used a bunch of leaf references on Pinterest, and I had a ton of fun painting this. Just a couple leaves and acorns. And this was the first painting I had done in months. For whatever reason, I really wasn't feeling like painting. I was doing a lot more knitting. So this felt really good to finish a painting after not doing it for so long. And then I took another big break for like a month and a half after that. But I chalked that up to being sick, because I did have like the urge to paint while I was sick, but I didn't have the energy to do it. But anyways, my next painting is actually a diptych, and that's because I didn't have a canvas large enough for my idea. And this one's a little bit more spooky, for kind of like the Halloween theme, and like the autumn coming. So this is When the Flock Comes Home. That was not a good turn. Let me try that again. And I will just spin it around that way, since there's no graceful way to turn these around. This is When the Flock Comes Home. And I wanted to get like a very spooky vibe of like, you know, like pitch black with like some light coming in from maybe the moon or something, and it just barely like giving a creepy silhouette to a flock of sheep. And then I spent a lot of time with the eyes trying to get the color just right to make it look like they're reflecting light back at the viewer, and like kind of drifting them off into the corners of the canvas there to kind of signify like how big the flock is behind them and everything. And I wanted this to be a fairly sinister painting. I had this idea in my head for weeks and weeks and weeks before it finally came together, but I could not be happier with it. I'm very, very excited about this painting, and I hope it can find a home, even if it's mine. So those are the 2 paintings that I have completed, and I think that's everything that I had to share with you today. I'm sorry that we won't be doing the knit and chat. Maybe I'll post it in another couple days when I find some more time to sit down and talk. But I think talking for so long has winded me a little bit, so I'm going to go rest and do some more knitting. And I will come back maybe in a few more days. If you like this video, please give it a like, and if you'd like to continue seeing more content from me, please consider subscribing to my channel. I would love to have you. Thank you to all of my returning viewers, and thank you for all my new viewers. Hello. If you've made it this far, thank you for being here. And I will catch you guys in another episode. Bye. To do my morning pages in, because I have, I think, 2 pages left. This is my current morning pages notebook, and I really like it because it has, let me get a blank page, the months and days on the top. So whenever I start writing, I just circle, and I like that. I've been working on this since February. And yes, I have 1, 2, 3 pages left to write on. I would have finished this like a month ago, but I was consciously ignoring it while I was sick. I was consciously ignoring a lot of things while I was sick. Now I am at the point where I need to go shopping for a new notebook. And by shopping, I mean perusing my massive notebook collection. It's actually not that massive. I used to think it was like a huge notebook collection, and then I moved and I displayed them all, and it's like 20. Oh, maybe I should count them actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, there's 11 on one shelf, and there's 4 shelves, so it's definitely more than 20. But I like notebooks so much. I've been collecting them for a long time. I can't remember a time when I wasn't like collecting notebooks. I have some of my very first like cutesy like young kid notebooks. Actually, I'm gonna show you like the oldest notebook that I have. Hang on. I decided I should actually show you my notebook collection. So I have some of my favorite figurines and the more delicate ones up on top of the shelf. This whole corner shelf actually was, I got this off the side of the road for free, and I really like it. So these are like notebooks that I'm actively using, except for this one. This is just fancy and it didn't fit on my fancy shelf. Some more little figurines. This is my fantasy figurine shelf. All of my shelves are themed. These are my fancy notebooks, what I consider to be fancy, and it's mostly just textures that I really like, or, you know, ornate. This one's like a denim notebook, and I really like the texture on it. This one's cork. And then we get down to extra fancy ones. These are more printed covers, but like this has an interesting texture on it. And some of my paperweight collections. And then these ones are just kind of utility notebooks that I'm not like, you know, over the moon about. I've just had them in my possession. So that is my notebook collection. 2 of the oldest notebooks that I have actually, because this this is one, and I was never like a horse person. I don't remember ever being like really into horses. This book belongs to Jocelyn O, And you can see how young my handwriting is. Oh my god, that's like 3rd grade handwriting. I must have been 10. Ripped out all of the pages where I wrote anything. Oh, no, I didn't. Oh my god. I wrote a fanfic of I wrote a fanfic of me, my brother, and our friend that lived across the street in Camelot. And my sister was the queen who was married to King Arthur. Oh my god, I drew, what is this? I drew our secret handshake. Except I spelled shake, S-H-A-C-K, so hand shack. It's literally just... Oh, yeah, very important. All of my family's phone numbers. For me, who probably didn't have a phone. I spelled cell phone with an S. How young was I? The other one is another horse notebook, and I can't even tell you how long I've had this. I think I actually just really liked the texture of the pages, and so I never wrote in it. And then I decided I wanted to use it for podcast notes and just writing down little things for when I sit down and do stuff here. Oh my god, how long have I been rambling? I don't even know when the oil truck left. Okay, I guess we are ready to start then.